Hello, everybody. I'm Doug Limerick, and this is Limerick on Life.
Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
Every year at this time, we hear FDR deliver those words to Congress as the U.S. went to war with Japan. Many of our parents were stunned that Sunday, and many of them, like my father and father-in-law, would end up going to the Pacific to fight the Japanese. Despite the attack on Pearl Harbor happening 76 years ago, some of those who were heroes that day just now getting their just due. Sailor Joe George on board a ship anchored next to the battleship Arizona, which was hit by a bomb causing a massive explosion, set it on fire. As it went down, George saw 6 badly wounded, burned sailors on the Arizona. Despite an officer's order to cast off, George instead threw a line to the 6 desperate sailors. They made it over to his ship, were saved. For decades, Joe George never was honored for his actions that day until today. After efforts by relatives and members of Congress over decades, today on the Arizona Memorial at Pearl Harbor, George is being given a Bronze Star Medal for valor. His daughter accepting the medal as her dad died back in 1996. Also at today's ceremony, 2 of the 5 Arizona survivors, both well in their 90s, around 1,100 men still entombed in the Arizona. And in Iowa today, Navy Chaplain Aloysius Schmidt is posthumously receiving the Silver Star for his heroics on that fateful day. He was among those trapped on the battleship Oklahoma after it was torpedoed and capsized. Schmidt helped several sailors escape through a small porthole, but then his body got stuck as he tried to get out. He then heard more sailors screaming behind him, so he insisted he be pushed back into the ship so the others could escape. He did not make it out. He was one of 429 men to die on the Oklahoma. Their remains were recovered. Many have now been identified from their DNA. You know, the term hero is used a lot these days, sometimes for those simply doing their duty. Both Joe George and Aloysius Schmidt were bona fide heroes on December 7th, 1941. 76 years later, a lot of young people consider Pearl Harbor and World War II to be ancient history. Same for Korea and Vietnam, for that matter. But at least those who laid down their lives and saved others that day are not being forgotten. That's the Slice of Life. I'm Doug Limerick.